Hello everybody and welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be reviewing the Cleveland collection. It's comprised of bedside tables, modular drawers, chest of drawers, and all the units are characterized by these two materials approach. Many dimensions and many materials to choose from. Let's dive in. Let's start from the way the Cleveland collection is built. So you have an inner cabinet, which here you see with the orange color, and then you have the outer cabinet, which here you see with this golden metallized effect color. And basically you can, this construction makes it that you have a grip on the side of each unit, and for each unit you can choose whether the grip will be on the right or on the left, more about it later. And based on this sort of construction, you can choose whether you want the Cleveland collection to be made of a single material and a single color, and it works perfectly fine. But this collection does shine when you combine two materials and two colors, and you see why in a setting like this or in the multiple pictures that you see in the product page. For the way it is built, the Cleveland collection is finished also on the back. Okay, you see a few more lines than on the front, but it's perfectly clean, and so it's perfectly visible, and you can like it, you can appreciate it from the back as well. Now I will push it back, okay? And the fact that I'm pushing it back does allow us to talk about the way you can organize the units and the cabinets. In every cabinet you can have it on the ground, okay, resting on the ground on 2 centimeters feet, but you will not perceive the PVC feet unless you move a few meters away, so you don't perceive the feet. So it can either rest on the ground. Any cabinet can rest on a lower cabinet. So these two cabinets, these and these, are identical, okay? With the difference that here you have hidden feet and here you don't have them, because this cabinet is resting on this cabinet top and this is identical to this one. And so you can build composition adding one element on top of the other. What is the difference? When you have this approach, you have a very high degree of flexibility in terms of how you build your composition, but bear in mind that you will always have these side lines that you don't perceive when you have a single unit with the desired height. Another feature of the collection is that for all the cabinets that have one drawer only, so they develop in height for the height of one drawer only, for example this sort of cabinet, you also have the version which allows you to attach them onto the wall to have a suspended version. This is especially nice for bedside tables. Just imagine this bedside table to be raised from the ground, or for example when you want to build an occasional desk or a makeup station by using a larger cabinet, and you can have an ottoman in front and just slide it underneath the hanging cabinet, and you can create your own custom composition with all these combinations of items resting on the ground, resting on top of other items, or be suspended onto the wall. As to bedside tables, you have 45, 60 and 90 centimeters. You have 45 centimeters depth or 53 centimeters. This is the 45. I very much like the 45 instead of the 53, because sometimes, especially with with beds which have a headboard and which is rather compact in depth, I don't very much like it when the bedside tables is too deep. But of course this is a matter of taste, and also a deeper cabinet will allow you for a higher capacity. Then you have multiple heights, because you have the 19.8 and the 29.8 centimeters, and considering that you can have two heights and you can have one drawer or two drawers height as to the bedside tables, you have a total of 4 available heights, from 19.8 the minimum to 47.1 the maximum height, and so this is very flexible. This is the chest of drawers. They range from 90 centimeters width to 148. This is the 148. And you can also have the high chest of drawers, which ranges from 45 centimeters to 90 centimeters. And of course, the high chest of drawers, as the word suggests, is higher, and it has multiple drawers, and its height ranges between 100 and 120 centimeters. As to the grips, There are certain chest of drawers which are perfectly symmetrical. For those, you will choose the smaller ones, and you will choose whether you want the grip on the left, on the right in this case, or on the left on the other side. While with this sort of asymmetrical grips, still you get to choose the position of the grip, but you have two grips, because you have, and basically you're not choosing the position of the grip, but you're basically choosing whether you want the wider drawer on the right, as in this case, or on the left. Here you have the wider on the right and the smaller on the left. And one thing to consider in terms of how it's built, it's the inside is built with very high quality hidden mechanism. You can choose for the full extraction optional. This is without it. So with the full extraction, the back of the drawer will come up to this line here. It's done with the surface, the inner surface is a very nice woven textured laminate, dark gray laminate. I very much like the fact that there's a double front. This is a important detail for the quality construction construction quality of a drawer, because you know these sides you could attach them onto the front, while in this case they are attached to an additional panel, okay, which does match the color that you choose for the structure, and this has a double use. It does have the purpose of properly building the drawer, but also, even though it slides inside the structure by a few millimeters, it creates this niche from which you can place your fingers, because you can open it from the grip, from the side grip, and you have a wider space. And if you have big fingers, it might be better to open it from here. Otherwise, if you have thinner fingers, you can easily open it from the upper side. One note about the grips. As we said, you can choose where to position the grip, and this can be considered thinking about looks in your room, but also about ergonomics. Because, for example, in a bedside table situation, well, when I'm positioning the bedside table at the right of the bed, I will have a left side grip, and on the other side, I will have a right side grip. Why this is so? Because when I'm sitting on the bed, when I have shoes, I will not really sit on the bed, but well, here I'm more comfortable. If the grip had been on the other side, it would not only be a matter of aesthetics, to have a symmetrical look on the overall bed, but it's also a matter of ergonomics. So this is something to consider when you add bedside tables to your basket. It's always better to add the quantity 2 and add one left, one right, so you have this detail perfectly coordinated. So we literally have a wealth of materials for the Cleveland collection. Here, in this case, you have matte lacquer Anfora, number 47, and you have the michelized lacquer nickel. But as we said, you have a wealth of materials. You have laminates, you have plain laminates, textured laminates, wooden laminates. You have lacquer, particularly matte lacquer and michelized lacquer, and then you also have wood. And among woods, you get our usual selection of fashion woods, which are special shades of oak, and then you have open pore lacquered oak, from which you can choose around 10 colors. So the point is that not only you have such a wide choice for a single part, but you normally tend to use the two colors together. And what I normally suggest is to choose a color, a neutral color for one of the two parts and a stronger color for the second part. Then it depends on you whether you will do something like, okay, stronger color on the inside, and so the inside you will perceive it from the top and from the grip, and as in this case, a more neutral color for the perimeter. Some clients do prefer the other way around, and so they get for a stronger accent color for the perimeter and a more neutral color for the inside. What is your taste? Write it in the comments. I must confess that I do own a Cleveland bedside tables. In my bedroom I have Cleveland bedside tables, and I've been using them for a few years now, and I'm very much satisfied with the resistance of the lacquer on the top. I've always been quite conscious about the possibility that lacquer on a horizontal surface might get scratched or might age in some ways by placing a glass or my glasses or the cell phone and so on. But I must admit that, well, I'm careful, but I do use it, and after 7 years, 8 years nearly, it's still perfect, absolutely. At the same time, I do suggest this approach. You can vary materials, but from laminates to, for example, certain lacquers or real wood, there's a certain variation in terms of pricing. And I do suggest that for a conscious purchase, you could combine a cheaper material like laminate, cheaper but very effective in terms of practical use and in terms of looks, with a more luxurious materials like wood. And for example, well, of course, it varies and it's based on the project, but sometimes I like the idea of using laminate for the structure, because this means that it will keep the cost down, but in terms of perception, laminate on the structure, even though the Cleveland collection uses laminates which are perfect in terms of looks, you don't perceive them as being laminates. Still, on the surface, you perceive it even less because you don't see them from a side like the front door. So you get a cheaper material which appears great, and it has an even higher resistance to scratches and use. And then I can have, for example, an accent color chosen from the whole collection of lacquers, or a special wood on the perimeter. And thus, with this approach, I can keep the cost down and have a great result. Then if you don't care about the budget and you simply want the best, you choose from all the materials, and you have such a gigantic choice to choose from. So we've come to the end of today's product review about the Cleveland collection. It's comprised of bedside tables, chest of drawers, modular cabinets, many finishes, many dimensions. I hope that you like it, and see you next time.